Well, guys, we are joined by the lovely Nana Visitor. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Jens over here is quite the Deep Space Nine mega fan, but
yes, of course, yeah.
he's going to start out with a question from the 80s, from one of your earlier works. Jens, go ahead.
Yeah, Nana, first also from me a warm welcome and many thanks that you take the time for our little show, and yeah, thank you so much. Before we talk about Star Trek and Deep Space Nine, I would like to ask a question about a completely different show. Many of our viewers maybe don't know that you had a role in an episode of a great show of the 80s called Knight Rider. And so I'm a big Knight Rider fan. Can you tell us how that came about and what it was like to play with a legend, David Hasselhoff? Perhaps you know that David Hasselhoff is a kind of cultural asset here in Germany.
Yes, I do. It's amazing to me. Well, that was one of my first jobs when I got to Hollywood. And as a young actor, I just went out and did guest stars. That's what you did to establish yourself. You did guest stars all year and then hopefully a pilot or two to see if you could get on a series. And that would be every year. And one of the shows that I did was Knight Rider. And there was another really interesting actor who was a guest star, and I wish I could remember his name, on that same show. He had done a lot of interesting films. So check that out. He was interesting. But David was absolutely lovely. He was wonderful to work with, kind, relaxed. The number one on the call sheet, although in that show, maybe the car was number one on the call sheet. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But number one on the call sheet really sets a tone for the way a set is run. And his set was really, really great.
Okay.
Good to hear.
Thank you. And were you also allowed to take a seat in Kit, the car, or not?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Too
I
bad.
got near the car. That was it.
Too bad.
No,
well,
that car was well taken care of. There was no sitting in the car.
Oh, okay.
Better taken care of than the actresses and actors, perhaps.
Possibly that's true. Had more people shining it, that's for sure.
Well, I guess it must have been a completely different time in the 80s. What has changed over the decades in terms of acting for women in TV shows?
Such a huge question that I've put a lot of energy around lately, as a matter of fact. And what is different is that I was hired to be an adjective back in the 80s. The worried mother, the sick girlfriend, the frantic woman, the dead wife. And after, Deep Space Nine, I have to say that Major Kira was, for me, a game changer. And it opened the door to female roles where there was a full spectrum human being. I had, as Major Kira, I had goals. I had goals, not just personal goals. I'm going to be rich or famous or this or that, or, I'm driven in my career, or I want that man, but goals for my people. Goals that were oriented around community. And I had appetites and I had faults, and agency is what it's called now, for women to have agency. I had agency as Major Q. And I was allowed to make mistakes, to learn and to grow. And now, of course, when you look at the landscape, not only are there many more working older actresses, female actors of all ages working, they don't fit this tight little, acceptability place that we had to crawl through. Your hair had to be this, your body had to be that, your face had to be. That doesn't seem to exist like it did, and thank God it doesn't.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. It really sounds you first only had to play a girl with high heels, and then a complete character, a complete human being, a complete Bajoran woman in Deep Space Nine, and it's great to hear
And
that it has changed.
strangely, in the 90s, I couldn't play a human being without it being someone from another planet.
Yeah. Only possible in a science fiction show, yeah?
Yeah. Science
Mm.
fiction is so important for that.
Yeah.
Not only
Of course.
imagination, but opening our hearts to possibilities.
Yeah. So, Daniel and I, we were just talking about our favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine. Yeah, is there an episode you have special memories of? Maybe, yeah, more from an actor's point of view than from a viewer's perspective?
Um, it's always the same. And people go, people who interview me now say, lie to me, tell me another episode. I
Mhm.
can't. It's duet.
Ah.
It's
Oh,
always duet.
this is just perfect, because this is
just
the
perfect.
episode I want to talk about. This is the single one episode I like most about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's a story about a Cardassian file clerk, to explain to our viewers, that disguised himself as the mass murdering leader of a Bajoran labor camp, and there is a duet going on screen between you and him, and it touches so many things: passion, acting, questions about morality, ethics. This is what for me makes great television, and I'm so glad to hear that this is your favorite episode.
It's what to me makes great Star Trek. What a lot of people don't dare do, not big effects, not big violent scenes.
Yeah.
Just the words, just the emotion, the passion. I thought the writing was incredible, and Harris Yulin as the Cardassian was amazing. And I have to say, it's one thing to be on a show and to get into the rhythm of it, and we're wearing makeup and you get used to all these things. To come in as a guest star, to put all that on your face and to have all that dialogue when it's not your usual bread and butter. He showed what an astounding talent he is by being able to just walk in and do that.
He has a great presence in the episode. Absolutely. Were you aware during filming that this would be such an impactful episode?
No. I know. I emotionally, it put me through a lot, because you can't say thoughtful things without first digesting it all. And it was a lot to digest. It was, I had dreams filming that. When I go home and sleep, I would have dreams as Kira, as my character, not as me, trying to escape. I can picture it now, what was in my dream of being in the camp and up against a wall and trying to find my way. The dirt, the smell, it's all so in there. But that's how deeply I was Kira at that time. I was Kira more than I was Nana back in those days. Our days were so long. It served us because, you do that deep dive, but that can also be very dangerous for an actor.
I see.
Understood, yeah. At the beginning of the 90s, when you were cast for the role of Major Kira, were you aware that this role could somehow accompany you throughout your whole life, or was it just a job for you and you only realized over the time what was in store for you?
No, I'll tell you, at the time, I thought, I want to do this female so badly, but it's probably going to end the rest of my career, because that's what people told you then. You do science fiction. Now, of course, in America, that's all our blockbuster movies are. They're all science fiction. There's not much else. Everything else is on TV. But I thought it might end my career. I did it anyway, but I had no idea that the most purposeful work for me was with you, with the people that I connect to because of this show, the people I find being my community, having things in common with, having discussions with, finding what it is between us. That has been revelatory. That I did not expect.
Wow. Thank you very much. This is amazing. Well, we talked about the role of women in television and how it has changed. Has it changed enough for you? Is there something left?
Oh no, yeah, no, we're not. I mean, it's a microcosm of the entire world. We have lots of work to do. We have lots of work to do.
Yeah.
We have lots of things to learn, and I'm trying to be busy learning them, learning how to be aware of everyone, of this inclusivity that we need to get our heads around. And it's easy to make mistakes. It's easy to get it wrong, but if we educate ourselves, I think it's going to make a big difference. That's a start. And as soon as we include everybody, women will come in that wave as well. But I'll tell you what I think. If I was going to do a Star Trek show and put great minds at work, I was just reading in the newspaper during the pandemic about a young research scientist, female. She had a child that I think the child was old enough to leave for a few hours while they were asleep. So she would get up at 3 a.m. and go to the lab and do her work and then be back for the child and get them ready for school. And that is not sustainable for women. We all, whether we want children or not, we all need children. That child that you help support may grow up to be the doctor that saves your life someday. We have to put great minds at work to childcare.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
How do we do that right? And we don't do it right yet, so that women can have careers. We need them. We need them coding. We need them as research scientists. Do you know that until recently, only male rats were used to test medications?
Okay. No, I wasn't.
Right? It doesn't make sense, does it? That females would react very differently. They tested everything for men and not for women. Why? Because we didn't have the women researchers to say, wait a minute. So things like that need to change.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the things Deep Space Nine did so effortlessly to show a very inclusive world without making a fuss about it all. This is a thing that really stands out for the show.
Yes, it absolutely does.
Yeah, Nana, was it sometimes a bit frustrating in that in the 90s the focus of the Paramount studio was more on Star Trek: The Next Generation and later more on Star Trek Voyager? Or was it perhaps even good because Ira Beer, his team, and the great actors were perhaps able to do things that otherwise would not have been possible?
Well, that's what hindsight got us. You can see that now, that it was a gift. Yeah. Because if we had been we were under the radar. If we hadn't been under the radar, I don't know that Major Kira would have been left to do what she did. I don't think we would have gotten away with half of what we got away with. Ira had a pretty free hand, and Ira started, this thing that's so normal now for us to binge watch a show. They weren't standalones, serialized. That was not done. And I think you're right. At the time, it felt like, hey, why? There were, but the same thing happened with men. Most men did not like my character.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. Most men did not like my character. Now, I don't hear that so much. Young men, 15-year-olds watching the show, they've been raised with other women like her. They're fine with it. They go, yeah, I get that. Now, what's her story? They're not shocked that she's angry. They're not considering her a bitch.
Do you think that such an experience, the whole production like Deep Space Nine, will ever come again in this way and form?
You mean, I don't know. Certainly, if you're asking, will they revive Deep Space Nine? I doubt it.
Not so much. More the experience of living in a groundbreaking production, the way it was done back then. If I compare Deep Space Nine to Star Trek Discovery, both are entirely Star Trek, but completely different shows. Yeah. This is what I'm talking about.
Yes. Oh, I see. I don't know. I mean, there have been so many iterations, and it's gone through really interesting changes. You just never know what's going to happen. So I won't say it's impossible. You know, creative forces shift and change, and you never know.
Well, we Germans are all about the rankings, so we have to ask: what are your best and what are your worst memories from Deep Space Nine?
My best memories are getting to ops, the ops set in the morning, and when we were in ops, that meant we were all together, and for most of the week we wouldn't be. We would be ships passing in the night where we wouldn't see each other at all. But when we were in ops, we were all called together, and it would be like a party, and we couldn't stop talking to catch up. One director actually said it's like trying to direct mad dogs, trying to get you all to be quiet and start working. We had such great community. That's one of my best memories. A personal best memory for me is 5 o'clock, 5:30, when the sun would start to come up, and I'm going through the Paramount gates, these historic gates, and I belong here. And the guard is going to say, "Good morning," and pass me through. I never got over that. Every single day, that meant something to me. Belonging. It was big, and in such a dream factory like Hollywood. The worst memories were having almost no brain capacity from lack of sleep. 20-hour day. Because our days on the set were no shorter than 16, but that doesn't account for makeup. So they were really long days. Being exhausted and wanting to do good work and trying to find it in yourself somewhere, not to just want to sleep, go home and sleep. That was a hard one. Watching Avery Brooks in Far Beyond the Stars do that ultimate scene that he does in the newsroom, watching Renee act, watching some of these unbelievable actors do their things, and not only watching, but being there to be in communion with them while they did it. Those are some of my best memories.
Is this also what you miss the most about the show?
Absolutely. The community and the work. I miss that hugely. I certainly don't miss what and that community, that's what I was saying before. That community has shifted to a global thing where I can speak to both of you, and we have common ground.
Yeah.
We start somewhere. There's a ground underneath us. We build it from there. So that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Nana, isn't it true that that Ira Stephen Beer once planned for Major Kira to have an affair with Gul Dukat, or is it just a false rumor? And
No!
what would have been worse, an affair with Gul Dukat or with Mark Alamo?
Okay. Poor Mark. I so would never want to hurt his feelings. And I wish that the documentary hadn't included that passage, but they did. But Mark, no, he was someone that I would definitely go. But no, I would go to dinner and be friends. That's what we did. I remember one Easter he came to my house. So let's just keep it to Gul Dukat. Okay. That would have been the worst thing I could imagine for Major Kira. I could not imagine. Now, Harris Yulin's character, yes, she could have an affair with him. There could be love there. It wasn't about Cardassians. It was about Gul Dukat's lack of any kind of. I didn't see Gul Dukat ever go, you know what? I'm remorseful here. I never saw remorse. I never saw understanding. I couldn't understand how she could have just a physical relationship like that. So no, never Dukat. And we did. We had it out about Dukat. It was one of the, I picked my arguments, and that was one I picked. And Ira got me back because he has my mother be one of Dukat's pleasure women. So it was like, oh, God.
Oh, my. Are you by any chance still following the new Star Trek series Discovery and Picard?
No, but I plan to. I plan to watch it. I've seen the first 3 Discoveries. Mm-hmm. And I want to see Picard. I didn't know that it was a limited series. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know if it's really set out from the beginning to be a limited series. I don't know. I guess it depends on the success of the show.
I see.
I don't know.
Well, certainly I'm going to start watching that and Discovery, and I'm just about to start to watch, believe it or not, I never saw Voyager.
Oh.
And I'm going to start from the beginning and go through.
Oh, and enjoy it. It's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do good binge watching. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love Kate. I love her acting. Yeah, I'm really interested to start the series. So I'm going to watch Voyager, and then I'll get to Picard. And I'm not sure I'm going to watch Enterprise. I tried to, and I didn't get into it.
No, it's a prequel.
Well, no, it's a special show, I think, and it aged well, I think. So give it a second chance, I think.
Then I will.
Yeah.
I definitely will.
It definitely aged so well that it's above this Discovery for me at least.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. What don't you like about Discovery?
It's too much action paced and less story driven.
Yeah.
If we are talking about episodes like Duet, you won't find them in Discovery. You won't find them in Picard. So that's a bummer because I really love those kind of episodes.
Well, that speaks to me as well. That's where the interesting work and the interesting storytelling is.
Exactly. Yeah. In the character and its development.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel is a new father, and I think he would like some advice from you. Daniel, please.
Oh yeah, you are on Instagram as Mama Nana, and of course having played Pamela Voorhees, Jason's loving mother in Friday the 13th, I guess you can call yourself qualified. So let me show you my baby girl before you give some advice to me. Here she is.
Oh, how old is she now? Is that recent?
This is 3 months, and we are now at 4-month old.
Oh, congratulations. You are a real new parent.
Oh yeah, I am. It's quite exciting. It's quite exciting. She is fun. She's angry, and all in between. So it's quite a voyage.
It is. It is. Having children is such, and it never ends. I mean, my sons are 24 and 28, and still I find myself having to evolve as a mother to not only meet their needs, but to have a relationship that is comfortable for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I hope I'm doing good as a father. So any advice is always welcome, especially from you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, for both of you, you're doing this by yourself or
with my wife. Yeah.
With your wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for both of you, you need to fill yourselves up. I made a huge mistake. I had so much work to do, and both infants were in the time of Deep Space Nine. And what happened? Do you need to get? Oh, they went away. What happened for me is I said, okay, nothing's going to suffer, so I'm going to give everything to my work. I'm going to give everything to my child, and if anyone's going to suffer, it's going to be me. And guess what happens when you do that? Everything suffers. You have to keep in mind always that on a plane, they say, put your mask on first before helping. And as new parents, you have to work it out so that you can each get what you need. To get depleted to that point, you won't be good at anything. It's just simple biology. We can't deplete ourselves like that. And it's possible to do. You just have to get used to, if it's the house that's going to be a mess, get used to having a happy mess. If you can get people to help you, make yourself vulnerable and ask the people closest to be a part of your life right now. But find a way to not think of perfection, not think of, well, in the future, this is going to work. No, it's every moment. It's now. It's now. Be happy in the mess. Find laughter in the chaos. Live it all at the same time.
Thank you very much. I will keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Good.
Well, all our lives have changed over the last year. The pandemic, cancelled conventions due to the coronavirus. Yeah. Well, but you're quite active on social media. We've listed your accounts: Twitter, Cameo, Instagram. How much do you think has social media in general changed our lives, and how important is it for you?
I think it's going to change lots of things for everybody. That we found this new way of communicating. You didn't have to get me a plane ticket. We didn't have to coordinate months in advance. A link and we're together. And it's important. This kind of link is very important. It's a real link. And I think it will change lots of things. It's so interesting. The first time I was asked to do Cameo, and the second and the third, I said, no, I don't want to do that. And then I started my Instagram account, which was out of a desperate need. I heard someone saying that they were having trouble with anxiety. It may have been on Twitter. I have so much information that I've learned because I struggled with it. I struggled with lots of topics and did a lot of studying on brain, on body, on training yourself to help without drugs. And not that drugs are bad, those work too. There's no shame in whatever works for you. But what worked for me is what I wanted to bring other people. And I felt this frustration. It certainly didn't feel like I wanted to suddenly on Twitter start talking to people about this matter. I felt like they needed to seek me out. If they wanted to hear this, then they'd find me.
Yeah.
And so as Mama Nana, I'm saying I'm not an expert, but I am, next month, I'm 64, and I've lived a long life and a very interesting life and a life with lots of challenges. And I've picked up a lot of tools that help those challenges. And for other people, I want to share what works for me. And if it can work for you, great. If not, cherry pick. You like this thought, use it that I say. You don't like that thought, throw it away. Just like a good mama.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us and the world, of course. Well, guys, you can check out Nana Visitor at Twitter, Cameo, Instagram. Nana, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us tonight. All the best and see you soon.
Thank you so much, Nana. Thank you.
Thank you very much.